Hello, Gemini. Welcome to your December 2020 reading. It's going to be so weird saying 2020 for the last time for the rest of this month, so I'm trying to enjoy it while I can. But your reading is really interesting. I did the other two air signs, and Aquarius was intense, but yours is very spiritual more than anything. I think money and your independence is going to be a really big theme for you this month. I forgot what other sign kind of threw hints at worrying about your health. You not so much worrying about it, but just valuing your health. You got a lot of wands cards, you got a lot of pentacles. So I want to say like you're fine. You didn't get anything to be scared about, but I just feel like you take a lot of things in your life for granted right now. The rest of this month going into January in 2021 is going to be about what you value. It's a lot of earth sign energy here about clinging to possessions, clinging to your image, clinging to a lifestyle. This month or the rest of it is going to be about releasing the need to have your life in a certain way, releasing your need to have certain people around you, because there's a lot of codependency here. You start out the spread with the devil and the death card, which is really scary when you say it out loud. But those two cards talk about imprisonment and releasing, being rebirthed and transforming. So when you get the devil to clarify a card like that, it's about you resisting that and you keeping yourself stagnant and in a prison because you just don't want to change. To change means to let go of and means to allow an ending, and the devil is you just not wanting to do that. But I'll get more into that later when I start your spread. I do like to have these little face-to-face before I show the cards, just to give an overview of the reading so that if it's just not your thing, then you kind of know not to spend an additional 30-40 minutes watching me. But there's like I said, a lot of codependency, but almost in all areas of your life. Your job, yes, or your finances, yes. There's definite codependency in how you make money, and you just don't want to look beyond that. But also in your relationships, I feel like toward the outside or on the outside, you look like someone very cold and very detached. And Geminis are known to be, fly-by-night kind of people, just here 1 minute and gone the next. But I don't think these zodiac stereotypes apply to everyone, obviously, and you're coming across as someone that wants to present themselves as a free agent and who can come and go as they please, when in reality you're very rooted in situations and you find it hard to let go of things. So this month or the remainder of it, just be prepared to just know when to let go and when to walk away. I feel like compromise is going to be a big thing for you, but more on the more in line of you compromising too much and you needing to know when to stop compromising, because compromising can turn into sacrifice very quickly. So you're already at that stage where it's not even compromise anymore. You're just sacrificing a lot and not getting anything in return. I also wanted to say that this probably is going to be a long reading. I'm just looking at all my notes now that I have here for you, and it's pretty long. So that's also another heads up. Relationships, I really don't see a third party for you, but I do see someone that takes you for granted. I also see you taking someone for granted and you just having a relationship that has the potential to be really great, but you just both aren't seeing certain things, or you both aren't willing to take certain actions because it would mean giving up the upper hand. And in reality, no one should have the upper hand in a relationship. And I think you might be with someone that's used to having the upper hand, and you also might be someone that's used to having the upper hand. So that is going to need to be released as well, because again, with all the sacrificial cards, you could be giving up something really great because of power dynamics, or because you have this fixed idea of what your life should look like. There's a lot of different scenarios for a lot of these cards in the spread, so I'm going to touch on all of them. Per usual, if it resonates, then that is your story. That is this is meant for you. But if not, I would check your sun, moon, and rising, because Gemini, it's a very fluid sign. All air signs are pretty fluid in a different way. So just really look at all aspects of your chart before you get too, attached to this story. So to get started, I'll put the camera down. We'll talk about this these two cards because this is a really interesting combination. Death kind of overpowers any card it's next to, even with a clarifier. But these two were pretty neck and neck for me when I pulled them. I just want to say that, it's nothing to be fearful of. I find myself, especially when I do readings and filming these videos, that people take things really literally, even if it's in terms of the artwork, of the name of the card, etc. So just be very open-minded when you get the quote-unquote scary cards, because tarot really isn't that doom and gloom type of energy. It really is applying to certain situations, and it's more about the questions you ask than the cards that you get. So to start, I really feel like you're in a place where you're solely about succeeding. And you're also solely about gaining, because this devil card can mean staying in the physical plane and being so attached to an outcome, or being so attached in a way that it's detrimental to your soul. And that's where the devil comes into play. There's a reason why this card is associated with Capricorns. Capricorns are 10th house energy. 10th house is what you're known for. It's the fame placement in your natal chart. And it's also, your social status. So, when you're focused on that, you're in Capricorn energy, but you're also, there needs to get to the level of fame that a lot of people dream of, there needs to be some kind of obsession, to be honest. That's always been my opinion. So this card is when you're focused on your social status. It's when you're focused on what you own. It's when you're focused on how people view you and how impressed they are. The obsession is kind of where you feel like your image is taking over, and it's just not sustainable. And that's where the death card comes into play. Death is transforming and becoming who you're meant to be based on your surroundings and based on your real goal. So you also have the Four of Pentacles further down in your spread, and that's also literally about clinging to your possessions as well. And I'm not trying to down anyone for having dreams or ambitions or for wanting to be famous. It's just about how you go about it, and going about it in a way that's healthy for you. I think in reality, like I said, you're clinging to all you own, when in reality, it's your mind and your creativity that is so much more valuable than looking for a quick fix. Scorpio and Capricorn together, though, they're really interesting, because the devil card, like I said, is Capricorn. Death card is Sun and Scorpio. So Capricorn is about ascending and everyone viewing you from, below you, because Capricorns, goats, climbing mountains, they're looking down, everyone's looking up. In Scorpio, which is 8th house, it's about descending, and it's about getting to the deep, dark parts of yourself that not a lot of people can see. Basically, you want to set yourself apart from everyone in some aspect, but the method, again, it's doing you a lot more harm than good, because you're clinging to an identity that's not that great, and it's not really who you want to be. You may be so obsessed with success that you're letting that take over, and you might find yourself at some point feeling exposed with this death card here, especially since we have the Seven of Swords later on in your spread. So I do see the need of these two cards coming up, that you need to release your mask and put more in your inner being, in your 8th house energy, and clearing out your shadow work and learning more about your psyche, than rather focusing on how people see you and focusing on what will get you a lot of attention. Because again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be famous and wanting to be seen and wanting to be viewed at a certain height, but it's just what you do and what it costs. You also have the Knight and the King of Swords here, so there is this cold persona and the idea that you want to be more detached, like I said earlier, but in reality, you just need to invest. Again, with the Four of Pentacles. So I mentioned you may come off as someone very cold, someone that doesn't allow things to get under their skin, or who doesn't want to be baited into arguments. But in reality, I think you internalize things a lot more, and you let things fester just so that you can look unbothered. And all of that, it kind of manifests itself in ways that, again, are going to harm you in the long run. I feel a lot of involuntary change, but you have the choice to either sink deeper into shallowness or to evolve, because that is literally what the death card is about, evolving. I should say this is the first of the few cards that warn of obtaining money by illegal means. So if you're, and illegal in this day and age, it can be, who knows, I wouldn't say anything super crazy, so I hope that doesn't offend anyone. But basically you need to stay on the right side of morality. So just dealing with consequences, and just avoiding unnecessary karmic energy is should be your intention this month, especially since we're literally right at the tail end of 2020. We all want to get out unscathed, so don't do anything that will call negative consequences on yourself. And it could be, something that's very small to you, but you have no idea what the turnout or the fallout from that will be. That being said, moving on, is because speaking of work, you got the Eight of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords. You're definitely attaching a lot of value on small things. Small, big, it's all relative, but you need a perception shift when it comes to what you own and what you care about. I do get a lot of arguing with this Knight of Swords. I do get a lot of people around you that again want to get under your skin, because you come off as someone that just is so not even easygoing, but just annoyingly calm. And there's nothing wrong with being calm, but I feel like there might be some people around you who resent you for that. So if someone is baiting you with something meaningless, just know that any energy directed toward it, it's not going to be worth it. I also almost see like this long-standing rivalry with someone for some reason. With this Eight of Pentacles, it could be someone you work with, it could be someone you go to school with, it could be someone you work for, because we do have the King of Swords right next to the spread, and we also have the Empress at the bottom of the deck. So, the Empress is known to be a mother-like figure, so this could be someone with a pretty important position in your family as well, because I did get a lot of the codependency. Couldn't just be with a lover, it could be with a family member or parent. So just know that the thing I'm saying about attaching yourself to things and trying to come off as unbothered and not being too invested in things, that could kind of blow back on you, because it'll be the smallest thing that sets you off. And that's what I see with these two cards. This long-standing rivalry, it's almost like it comes to a head over something so tiny, so insignificant, something so minuscule. It's like a landmine that was just waiting for someone to step on it, and it blows up everything in its surroundings. So if you're around someone that you have a problem with, or if they have a problem with you, keep a poker face, disengage, but also just don't assert any energy toward that person, because the longer you keep pushing feelings down, or pushing your distrust or your dislike of someone down, it's going to fester and bubble up, and before you know it, you're going to be finding a way to be in their presence just so that you can get at them. And that's what that Knight of Swords is. It's about attacking something head on, and you really don't want to do that right now. To be honest though, I am seeing it more on the other end. I'm seeing someone that has those feelings about you, to be honest. I'm seeing almost like this fixation, like this mental fixation. I don't want to say like illness, because that's a little, going too far, but there's just someone that has been waiting for a while to explode on you. So just don't be a casualty if you can help it. If there's a way for you to express anger in a way that won't hurt you or yourself, then by all means do that. But I am not seeing that the person involved in this, who by the way is completely separated from like the codependent energy, I feel this is someone completely different. I'm not seeing that whoever this is someone that wants to be reasonable, is someone that wants to rectify things. Their sole purpose right now, or their sole goal, is to again rile you up and to be able to say that they got under your skin, because in your social circle, or your persona with this Devil card, it's probably rare for you to be angry. So that's just something to look out for. Either way, you're not going to be receiving good news with this Knight of Swords. And I don't want to say that it's going to be completely depressing or miserable, but it's going to be something that might make you angry more than sad, to be honest. There's also the energy of staying one step ahead with this Eight of Pentacles, because this is being smart, this is being prudent, this is being careful, which is prudent, but it's just really keeping an eye out on everything. You see the moon cycles up front. On top of this card, you see the books and just overall a lot of studying, of honing a craft, of paying attention to the more important things in life, basically. So that's where you need to be, and in doing so, you will be one step ahead. There will be a lot of rage, though, like I said, surrounding whatever message or news you're going to get, or it might be the feelings that you get after you receive this message. But again, with this Eight of Pentacles, there's just this energy of picking yourself up and then investing in your skill and your work, and not letting, anything get you to the point where you're just going to be distracted anymore. Don't lend money with this combo. It may even be news of you probably not being reimbursed for something that you spend a lot of money on. And on a more positive aspect, though, for those of you in school, or for those of you that got promoted and you need to take some courses to further, your position, this is a really good combo for that. It means you're going to go head first into doing it, and it's going to be something you're very passionate about. It's going to be something that challenges you in a good way. So that is something to look forward to. I do want to just have that positive aspect of it, because I do see the potential for a lot of verbal arguments for you this month. And you don't want to get so wrapped up in defending yourself and being in pettiness that you miss out on where your mental energy needs to go, because you are ruled by Mercury. Your mental energy is probably a lot more heightened, especially if you have multiple Gemini or Virgo placements. So for you have to be really careful about your verbal skills and what you say, how you say it, how you think, because Mercury just is magnified with you guys. So moving on, though, we have the Five of Cups, we have the King of Swords, and then we have the Eight of Cups to clarify both of these. So these came out together, so we're going to look at this as one card. There's a push and pull energy here, and this is the beginning of where I saw the need of two, or I saw the energy of two people that just want the upper hand, that just someone won't budge, and it may cause a needless separation, basically. This could also mean that you also need to stand up to someone, because this King of Swords, he's domineering in a way that the Emperor and the King of Wands isn't. He's domineering in a way that is really subtle. He's it's not a cup card, but there is still a lot of emotional control here. He's very cold, so he could be slightly emotionally abusive. And the more people detach from you and kind of withdraw from you, the more you chase them, the more the sadder you get, and the more desperate you are for their attention. And the King of Swords is someone who, when he's not evolved, he knows that, and it's a power play for them. They're detached more, they move away more, so that you will chase them. And of course, this Eight of Cups is telling you don't, if this is the case. Again, if this is something being done intentionally, this Five of Cups is regret and, wondering where you went wrong and how you caused this, when the Eight of Cups is not caring anymore and just knowing regardless it's not going to work and you've done all you can do. That's more on their end, though. You just need to detach yourself and give the cold shoulder if you aren't getting what you need. This could also be you liking how you look and feel in a relationship and not wanting to give that up, especially with the first two cards that came out in the spread. I feel like that's the overlying energy of this whole, all the cards pulled, is just you really are holding on to things because you think they're going to get you a lot further in life than they actually will. You think you're going to earn people's respect by doing and acting in a certain way or doing certain things. But in reality, it's going to cause you regret and pain in the end, and you really need to walk away while you can. Like I said, there's really not a third party here, but it's just a lot of codependency with this Devil card, this King of Swords. What else? The Hanged Man. So it's codependency in both ends, but it's two people who need one another, and you still won't do what's necessary to make things work. So you both really want to be together, but you kind of won't budge. You won't meet them at the halfway point. It's like this prison that you easily can get out of, but you don't want to because you don't know what's outside. You don't know what life would be like without them. Or, I mean, for some of you, you just don't know what life would be like alone. You're in a connection, it's just not fun anymore. This Five of Cups is a loss of pleasure. This is the opposite of the Three of Cups, which is sensuality and happiness and fulfillment. The Five of Cups is a loss of that, while the Four of Cups is a realization of the loss. And the Five is just, it's just knowing but not knowing where to go after and trying to move forward, but you're still looking over your shoulder hoping that, you know, something might change. But this 8 is being strong and it's strength. The 8 in tarot is also the strength card itself. So there takes a certain amount of strength, an emotional strength, to be able to walk away from something that's nagging at you and being prepared for what's next. With the Five of Cups, though, some of you may have heard from an ex, because we did get the Six of Cups at the very end of the spread. Some of you, I feel like you've heard from an ex, and then in that conversation, you realize why things didn't work out. You realize why you just couldn't be together. So while you may have initially held on to hope, while you have initially may have wanted to really make things or reunite with this person, in seeing them, you probably had a conversation, you probably, you know, went out one night and you just really saw things for what they were, and now you're ready to be done and to detach. In relationships, though, it's more about you questioning your gut. It's, can you believe what you see? Can you believe how you feel? I think for you, freedom is going to be from you not overvaluing someone's place in your life. I forget what other sign had that same theme. They really believe that this person was the end all be all. And, you know, for you, I see that you're sacrificing so much that your faith and your happiness, you're putting it into all the wrong things. And in speaking of sacrifice, you got the Hanged Man and the High Priestess. You got a lot of psychic cards. These two together are no joke. And then you got the Six of Cups at the very end of the spread. The Death card can be somewhat psychic, but not really. Yeah, you got a lot of intuition cards. This Two of Wands could be psychic in a way as well as Temperance. So I do feel like instead of sacrificing your emotional health, you need to instead release your hold on people and hold on materials that are temporary, because that's all this is. That's what the Devil speaks of too. All this, you know, it feels great in the moment, but what comes after that is what lasts, not what's happening during. And sometimes too, with codependency, the first step is to realize, you know, it's not also you being bound by someone, you're binding someone to you as well. So you're taking on looking for quick fixes and things that make you forget rather than fulfill you. And deep down, you know that with this High Priestess here. There's a lot of remorse here. There's a lot of mourning of lost time. You may have worried that it's too late for something, but again, it's your ego, because the Death card is about ego and almost an ego death. And this Hanged Man is about looking at things from a perspective and releasing the way you view things now. The attachment to wanting to fit a certain image that I keep talking about, the attachment to a lifestyle that has you feeling like wherever you are now and where you're headed isn't good enough, the Hanged Man is about letting it go. I do feel like you need to drown out the other voices, the other opinions, because that's what deep meditation is about. The key is coming back to yourself before doing anything, because the High Priestess knows herself whole. She is a match with the Hierophant. The Hierophant is about society and taking a leadership position and kind of separating from a crowd, but in a way that still conforms. She doesn't conform because she goes by her own rules, and not in a selfish way. I feel like everyone is born with this innate ability to know what their path is and to know what makes them happy. And the High Priestess speaks to that. So these two are just talking about getting rid of the excess, getting rid of anything that just is talking you out of the good things, basically. The only downside to these two cards together Yes, it's acceptance, but in this spread, it could be accepting sadness, it could be accepting defeat, it could be accepting despair or disappointment. So that's not something you want to do, especially with the High Priestess and the Death card, because those speak to your psyche and your inner being, and you never want to allow despair or disappointment to go into your inner being. I also feel the energy of a lot of mind games, though, between you and someone you love. Again, with this King of Swords, or you're even the King of Swords, gender non-specific, because it's just, I feel like the King of Swords is really representing your relationship as a whole, because you both are in the same energy. You both are mirroring each other. So if this applies and you're playing mind games with someone you love, the result of this may be you both are just going to be happy or be willing to be unhappy just to be right. So you really don't need that in your life as well. I don't really see the need to completely end a situation that you're in. I just see the need to transform it with these two cards here, because the way you're going is just going to make this relationship really, really, it's going to make it a headache for you. And I do feel the energy of two people that otherwise would be really good for each other, because you have a lot of similarities, but you both are just used to being in control, and that needs to be released. I keep saying the word released in your spread, but that's really your theme, because there's so much that you have to let go of going into 2021. That being said, when it gets to your relationship, immediately after, I do feel a truce coming. And the Four of Swords does represent compromise, but compromise after remorse. It's really knowing that a lot of boundaries have been pushed, and there's really no further you want to go unless you want a complete destruction. That's why the Five of Swords is after this, because it's battle, it's unnecessary fighting. This is the calm. You can go either way. You can go. You can be in the Five of Swords energy after this, or you can be in the Six of Swords energy after that, where it's just you're going to a peaceful place after a lot of drama. Instead of self-pity and looking at your problems with no form of action, you're taking an active part, and you're recovering so that you can fight. It's this card, the Four of Swords, is a rest after a long battle. So you go out, you fight, you deal with a lot of conflict, but then you just go home, you rest. You really rethink, you recoup, and then you head back out with a new game plan. And then in doing this, your work life, your social life in particular, I feel like that's about to change. But again, after you take that mental break, your whole identity is about to shift. But really, it's only once you clear out this energy and figure out what voice you want in your head, because that's the main focus for you this month. You also have 3 8s here. Started with the 8 of Pentacles, followed by the 8 of Cups, and then ending with this 8 of Wands. So the 8s in this spread is all about discipline. It's a master number in numerology. So I do feel like discipline is literally, discipline and release is your key themes, or are your key themes this month. There also be a lot of focus on your health, but health in terms of regeneration and recovering and healing. Like I said earlier, if you've been taking it for granted, there's something pretty major that wakes you up for sure. All these 8s are going to be where and how the discipline needs to take place. So far it's in work, honing your craft, getting up every day, whether it's to go to work or to study or to network, because it's 8 of Pentacles, especially since I think you also have this 2 of Wands. Those are 2 really good cards for networking. Having the discipline to walk away from something and to be on your own. And then also having the discipline to go after the life you want, even if it means changing drastically, which is pretty much all the cards in your spread talk about change. I do want to say, though, that if you've been winging things in any area of your life, because this 8 of Pentacles is about, like I said, being a step ahead and studying and planning. This 8 of Wands, you see all these wands, and even in traditional tarot, you see them all going in the same direction. You don't see one wand going here and another one going up, another one going down. They're all going straight forward. So, if you've been weighing things, like I said, it really needs to stop, and there needs to be more intent behind what you do. Like the Gemini energy again is about the stereotype is about being coming and going as you please, and not necessarily being unreliable, but more so being spontaneous and bored easily and overstimulated. But in reality, I think that it's an asset, because when you direct all that energy into one place, it's even more powerful. So the Eight of Wands, it's energy, it's force, and it's all going in one direction. And you know what? I shouldn't even say force. I'd rather say will, because will is stronger than force. Will is just knowing something's going to happen. Force, there's still doubt behind that. So if you really move in faith, especially after this High Priestess and the Hangman, which is about meditating and just relaxing and stopping for a bit, like this Four of Swords, then yeah, you have time to really, in all that energy you've built up in your resting period, now you have time to direct that to where you want it to go. Once you do, though, you have the Six of Wands, which is literally the success card, and the Four of Pentacles. So it can be success from untapped talents. The Four of Pentacles is something that you're not showing to the world, that you're not sharing with the world. We also have the final release of clinging to possessions, but still knowing that you have dreams, you have goals, you want things to be a certain way. Maybe you do still want to live a life of luxury and happiness. So, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as that's, again, not the end all be all. That can't be the beginning, the middle, and the end of your story. There has to be a well-roundedness. There are a lot of avenues for you to take. So there doesn't need to be this fixation on owning things and living a certain lifestyle. I do feel, though, that for all the signs, the end of the month, it brings a lot more security. And I really won't get into too much about my belief based on the spreads that I've been doing and just the state of politics in general. But the Four of Pentacles is not even necessarily just an individual card when it comes to finances. It's about economy as a whole. So take with that what you may. But in your case, I am seeing these two cards as a light at the end of the tunnel. For those that were focused on money and security, like we all probably were this year, this is a card that talks about the idea of economy as a whole and needing to reevaluate how to make money work for you, instead of depending on always having a check coming in, or depending on always being hired somewhere, or always kind of putting your financial stability in the hands of the whole, in the hands of a state, in the hands of a government. That's about, kind of taking your power back a little. The Four of Pentacles is to me on my list of misunderstood cards. It represents Saturn and Capricorn. So when I talk about this being a collective financial energy, that's what it definitely signifies to me, because 2020 was like the final year of Saturn in Capricorn. So this card has been showing up for me a lot. That's why I've kind of have my suspicions about why with this one. I will say that our economy, especially if you're in the US, I really can't speak to other countries, but our economy as a whole is going to be pretty big, and we're going to go through massive changes. Saturn in Capricorn speaks of structure affecting our money, of power struggles affecting our money. So that for you, you may have dealt with that individually, like we all have, but it just manifests itself individually in different ways. So this coming out with the Six of Wands means that might be over soon, or it might take a more positive spin toward the end of this month. I didn't mean to go off on that little rant, but it's always interesting to me how tarot can kind of predict certain things that are worldwide. But moving forward, these two together, it's really interesting, because I always see Temperance as one of my supernatural cards, and the Two of Wands too can be occult-like as well. So Temperance can be supernatural, divine messages, but together this is like an otherworldly occurrence, and it's not going to be something super crazy. But with the Two of Wands, it could really signify delays and needing to reroute, and with the Temperance card, it could be a divine intervention of sorts. It's going to be something completely random, but then in hindsight, it's going to hit you why it happened, basically. So yes, more disappointments, but they're going to be very small, and really they're going to be the catalyst for something better, especially with this Death card and this Eight of Cups and this Five of Cups and the Hangman and the Eight of Wands. So you've got a lot of movement coming to you this month. I do see that there might be some longing for someone with this Two of Wands, because the Two of Wands can be waiting. And patience, I'm sorry, temperance is about patience. So, yeah, these two together could be you yearning and longing for someone. But again, I do see that there needs to be a way for both parties to heal before coming together. Otherwise, it's just going to be more pain. It's going to be just more disappointment. There also is the need to show restraint as well in some area of your life. So you've got a lot of cards, all these eights talking about discipline, the High Priestess, the Four of Pentacles, the Hangman, all about restraint and letting things happen. The Four of Swords too, about just resting and letting yourself heal and letting yourself recover before you force anything. And that's really going to help you in your relationship. I do see that, because I think both of you might be with someone that's equally as forceful as you, that's someone that's equally as ambitious, and they may get overstimulated too, or they may be someone that's always on the move with this Eight of Wands, and you both just don't know how to handle each other. With this Devil card, you can bring out, it's like looking into a mirror and only seeing your negative aspects. So you're battling that, but it's in reality, you're battling your person. So that's something that, when you heal yourself and you do your shadow work, your relationship's going to grow, because you'll be able to see your person as an actual person and not just the negative aspects of yourself, if that makes sense. That being said, though, I do see you almost being willing to put this loved one in your past. You can't force anyone to be in your life. And tarot is not a way to see, what you need. It's not a cheat code to how to get someone to stay with you, because I do get a lot of clients that ask me things like that. Basically, the Six of Cups and the Sun, though, you really doesn't get any better than this. The Sun card is pure joy. I always say that. For those of you trying to make it work, though, the Sun is about stepping into the light. It's about exposure, but not exposure in a messy way. It's exposure in just pure truth. Complete honesty, and also being completely vulnerable. Stepping into the sun with someone is just both of you taking a chance and walking into the unknown, and being completely open. You're being exposed. It's not like the moon where, it's very cloudy, very murky. It's the sun is the complete opposite. So for those of you trying to make it work, that's what you have to do. You also have to demand fulfillment, though. You can't really put on those rose-colored glasses and think that everything's okay anymore. You really have to be brutally honest about what needs to change on both your ends. I will say there's an obvious attraction here. There's obviously love, because you have so many Wands and Cups cards, but the mental isn't there. The communication isn't there, and that almost overrides all the positive that you've got going for you. It's hard to talk to someone, and it's hard to talk to someone if you're just so ready to argue, if you're so ready to get your own point across and not listen to the other side of that. So it's either you both are like that, or you're dealing with someone that's like that, and you're just so used to just letting them have their way, and now you just don't know who you are anymore. But yeah, that's your spread. I will say you had the Empress at the bottom of the deck with the Seven of Swords at the bottom of my other deck. So this Empress, though, I like this card. In terms of growth, in terms of getting things moving and creating, because the Temperance card is art, it is creativity, and the Empress is giving birth to that in a physical form. So I will say, if I'm talking to any artist, if I'm talking to anyone that is trying to create something, expect to see it, or expect to get that ball rolling, because again, you also have the Eight of Wands, which is finally putting something into action. Let's see. I'm going to do a few oracle cards, especially since y'all had the eclipse in your sign on the 30th. So it's no surprise that you start the spread out with death after an eclipse, and the Devil card too. Let's see, moving forward, I think 2021, you're not going to have like a super crazy year, but I'm doing a year ahead for everyone. I'll get into that at the end of this video. All right, you've got the Broom, which is cleanse, which is insane. I feel like that's all I've been talking about in this spread, is just release, release, release. And it's so overused by light workers and readers and spiritualists, but it's so much harder than just thinking, all right, I'm done with this. there has to be like physical action behind it and emotional intent. You can't just say you're done with something. The broom too could talk about clearing your space, saging it, moving, because the Eight of Wands is about changing, and relocating if necessary. So that could be something too. You've also got gratuity from my love oracle, being gracious, abundance mindset, the Four of Pentacles, high frequency, positivity, attracting what you want, which is what the Empress is. She's a very, very good at attracting abundance because she's Mother Earth. Feminine energy at its best is about attracting, regardless of gender, because we all have masculine and feminine energy in us. And let's do one more. So we're already at 40 minutes. I'm surprised it's not longer though, because I had a really long reading for you typed up, and I'm surprised I got through it all so quickly. This is from my healing deck. 2 came out. You've got truth and changes. And that's funny because the Knight of Swords, you didn't get any pages. The Two of Wands can be messages as well. Temperance for me means a lot of psychic downloads with the High Priestess too. So you've got a lot of changes coming. You've got a lot of messages coming to you. And then you also got truth and changes. Yeah. So you're going to get some kind of message or some kind of news that makes you reevaluate everything. And it's so vague in a tarot reading, but I feel like it's going to be more about health. I feel like it's going to be more about the economy. I feel like it's going to be more about what you value and how people see you, and how I feel like the answer is going to be why you want people to see you a certain way. I don't think it's something you've ever thought about. I think it's something that you just developed a desire to have. You've desired to have people look at you in a certain way, and you just don't know why that is so big for you, why you need it so much. And in really sitting down and thinking about that, that's going to open up a lot more questions for you. So that is your reading. I know I rambled on a lot. I feel like I repeated myself so much, but that's normally a good thing for me because that means your message is really consistent. I'm really happy to get your reading done. I really wanted it done before the eclipse, but I feel better about doing it after because that energy is so potent that 6 months after, it's going to be pretty influencing on you as a sign. So this is pretty much what you have to expect moving forward into January. That being said, for 2021, or right before January 1st, I'm going to be doing all zodiac signs in a similar spread to this. There will be 2 cards per month, just to kind of give you a nice little overview. Heads up though, it'll probably be 40 to 50 minutes because it's a lot of info in one video for a whole year ahead. If you are interested in booking an individual year ahead, all my information is in the bio. That is going to be a 1-hour video along with a written reading sent to you, and just a lot of info overall. But yeah, per usual, all my socials are in the bio. All my socials are in the description box. And I will see you when I catch up with you all at the end of this month for your 2021 forecast. Until then, stay happy, stay safe. Bye.